newer
this is the photo.
newer approaches to working with the data. This is a subset from the data we acquired with De Beers in Botswana on a Zeppelin airship. And you can see a picture of the airship there in the top right. It's about 80 meters long.
Is that a real storm in the background?
Yes, it is.
What the heck?
So we've had a few scary moments, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
The airship it's 80 meters long. And you see the cabin underneath that could sit 15 people very comfortably.
Wow.
All we had on board was the pilot, co-pilot, or operator, and the instrument, and that's it. And we were flown that at 80 meters above ground.
Wow.
So when you're out there in the field, then they got this masting truck to connect for the refueling with helium into the and it's got a rigid airframe, so it's very steady and steers a very steady course. We're flying along server lines, but like anything, it's
I mean, steady when there isn't a massive storm in the distance.
Where's this data from?
Botswana. It's near the Jwaneng diamond mine. It's the world's largest producing diamond mine, and it's been in production for about 40 years.
Is that a kimberlite pipe?
Kimberlite pipe. This is it here. This is the open mine itself, and this is the response of the various infrastructure on the ground around it. So that's the hole in the ground that they're extracting the diamonds from, and in that pipe. But it's the survey. De Beers wanted to do this survey because they were wanting to find other kimberlite pipes elsewhere, and they could do ground gravity, but it was going to take quite a lengthy period of time to have the crews out there, acquire the data, get home, process it up, and deliver maps. When we could fly the Zeppelin and cover very large tracts of land in very quick time. And the image that you see there, it's for scale purposes, it's about 80 kilometers left to right, 50 kilometers north to south, top to bottom. So it's quite a large area. We flew that with a 200-meter line spacing. So it's quite detailed, quite focused. And you see lots of the responses. And this is what we call as a vertical gradient. It's the rate of change in the vertical direction of gravity. So you really get amplified responses on dense geology. And so the warm colors are high density. And geologically, that is a cyanite intrusive complex, which is
cyanite.
Yeah, it's a ring dike system. And in fact, the world over, I think some of the larger gold producing parts, deposits, prospects around the world are associated with this kind of geological environment. So this is one here that's sitting in the ground, so to speak. But De Beers' focus would have been kimberlites and diamonds.
This thing's close to the surface, huh?
Yeah, it would have been 200-300 meters below the surface.
Wow.
So when you look at the terrain out here, it's all sand. It's the Kalahari Desert, the southern end of it. So you don't see much geology in the surface. All you're seeing, this is a map of the bedrock and deeper geology. One of the things we have here for explaining what we see in these maps is this concept down in here.
Yeah.
And I should explain that because when we're measuring the rate of change of field in the different directions, you're trying to visualize what that does not mean geologically. There's so many different measurements, but we organize them into it, describe it mathematically as a tensor, and that itself has got three axes. It's got the vertical z, and it's got changes in the east-west or x direction, or the north-south or y direction. And so what we're looking at in our tensor information, and that's a fault block structure I put in the tensor axis. So when we look at our data, we try and image the edges of the feature, the top of the feature, the rounded shape of the feature, by looking at the different measurements recorded in each of these directions. And the map you see here is the vertical response. And so it's very good at picking up those vertical edges and the contrasts that are generated. And you can see this kind of information down here. That actually is a banded iron formation, which is a fold axis.
Whoa.
And you see the fold cut out, and then it's been a fault cutting right through it.
Whoa.
I was going to say
Geology,
that north...
Geology in the eye, yeah.
Yeah, that north 70 east shear that goes through that entire system seems to be driving just about all of, all these intrusives that are coming in.
Yeah, this thing does look like it's under shear like that. Bang, you take your convergent vectors and do that.
You can. And it does so much information. You get these narrow little dikes, swarms, and the like evidence in here as well. And we acquired this in 2006, and we've kind of put it through our latest processing stream to get this kind of crisp imagery together. Then the next kind of component map, I guess you can call it, is what we call the that's dead, showing the vertical direction. The next one is the variation of the field in the horizontal direction. So it's the laterally varying signature patterns. And so we were looking at how the field, representative of the field changes in the east, west, north, south direction, as well as in this XY plane. And it allows us to map the curvature of a structure. So if you're looking at an antitannal structure or a fault block, or you're looking at intrusive bodies or basal settings, we can map the curvature of that rounded shape that might be evident on each of these. And when we get these red points to where we got the maximum curvature. So we know that this is associated with that intrusive ring-like system, and so we're getting maximum curvature on that. But we're also getting detail on the smaller scale events, which are showing localized curvature effects in the data. And then the blue anomalies tell us where there's very little curvature, there's very little structural change or structures that have been developed.
And that blob of massive curvature in the northeast, that is the kimberlite pipe De Beers was mining, correct? Okay.
Yeah, it just sees, because there's a hole in the ground, so it sees it as a feature.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
So yeah, it's just an empty void full of air. So it thinks it's a big anomaly of interest. Yes. And then the last one, the other side one, is the this is where we look at the horizontal change, or the downward influence of the changes in that horizontal field, and it's what we call a total horizontal gradient. So it's looking at the edges of those curved structures, and allows us to build a fault framework map. So you get a massive expression of them here because there's great density change, but then you get a lot more subtle ones in here, and we will use this one to build our lineament maps that we use this to directly predict where the lineament contact lineaments are in the data. And having XZ and YZ is fantastic in the full tensor, because the full tensor system directly measures that, whereas like all of the components, we directly measure them in the field, so we got raw data to get this high quality product from, and it's an exciting technique.
Lineament just means you have
contact. Yeah.
A what?
It's just a contact. It's a geological contact. You don't really know if they're structural, like a fault, or they're stratigraphic, just like a contact, or the age of an intrusive body. So the idea is that you build a database, a framework of all of these contacts, and then you start looking at it from a geological perspective as to what they might be.
And you start poking out, you were saying like the banded iron or dike swarm, or however. Yeah. When you add in that hard data, you can really start delineating this stuff out.
And you can start categorizing the responses to the different geological features, and then you can make predictions of what others are like, where you don't have constraining information. So it's just building it up,
crazy
the geological map as you go.
I love this map. I love it. I want to put this on my wall. This
is like art. Do you guys sell this as art?
Or do we need to call De Beers? Is that?
Yeah, well.